There are a lot of things that GTA 5 is good at, and facial hair just isn't one of them. Earlier this week, I asked you how you felt about each of the 30 facial hair designs. So, to raise awareness for Movember and men's health, more on that later, let's go over every facial hair option from worst to best.
Ready for a trim?
Collectively, the worst facial hair in the game is the chin strap beard. Scoring an average of 3.25 out of 10, I stand to agree with the masses here. This particular design is quite lackluster and still costs $875. Though I believe the part that people seem to dislike the most is the chin strap portion, because the pencil chin strap didn't do much better at only 3.39. Personally, I think these two should have switched, but I digress. Luckily, this version is a tad cheaper at only $600. In 28th, the mutton chops are a prime example of how Rockstar could have done better. These so-called mutton chops are barely even visible, being only a few millimeters long at most. When I think of mutton chops, I think of Schlatt, Wolverine, and Micah Bell from Red Dead Redemption 2, and this is not the same. This is shit. The chin option isn't the worst, nearly getting a 4 out of 10, but let's be real. There are ways to make this work, like at least do a goatee. Name one person with this particular facial hair design. And no, a soul patch wouldn't count. Go ahead. I couldn't think of any. Chin Fuzz performed better at 4.28, but again, it appears the masses don't enjoy anything that focuses on the chin and nothing else. Now, wait a minute. I might have to go back on something I just previously said. The Hamstead here is definitely more of a Schlatt look and does better mutton chops. I guess it goes to show that the original mutton chops could have been a lot better. Even still, those of you who took part by filling out the Google form I posted on my community tab still give this an average of 4.47, just behind the light Franz. Which is an okay style, though I'm not sure I would have put it ahead of the Hamstead. Regardless, for some reason, you didn't seem to like the style. Claiming 23rd, the Pencil and Chops is a very neatly designed and cleanly cut facial option, though it does come in at $1,975, which given the nature of GTA Online really isn't that expensive, but for a beard trim, it is on the slightly higher side. The thin circle beard is surprisingly the closest thing we can get to Iron Man's iconic look, which is incredibly sad. How hard would it be to give us a regular circle beard that isn't that thin? Would that be that hard, Rockstar? Now the Bulbo looks like you just put some glue on your face and rolled around on the barbershop floor, which is kind of funny to picture, but hey, it could have been a bit clearer for $400. The Lincoln is pretty basic and is poorly based on Abraham Lincoln's famous beard. It's also the first beard to score over a 5 out of 10 at 5.03 on average. Despite scoring 5.08, the Ambrose is just more proof that Rockstar had the capabilities to do more with facial hair in this game. The Ambrose actually shows length and doesn't just look like a texture that was slapped onto the face. So here's to hoping that GTA 6 has facial hair mechanics similar to Red Dead Redemption 2. The Horseshoe is one of my favorite facial hair designs in real life, but this is just horrible. And I'm happy to see that the majority of people seem to agree. Again, just do better, Rockstar. Like, how is this supposed to be Hulk Hogan? In what world are these the same? Scruffy, not to be confused with the scruffy beard, is just some stubble in a somewhat unique design, but again, a lazy style in general. But at least it's a bit more common than some of the others we've seen, so perhaps it's more realistic. Now, if you don't agree with where this ranking is going, perhaps you should consider hitting the subscribe button and partaking in the daily polls over on my community tab. This is where we do fun quizzes like, which of these vehicles has the highest top speed? And where I drop questions and links so that you can help me do these rankings and I can get a group consensus, so it's not all based on my personal opinion. Moving on to 15th and 16th are both different versions of the Auto, starting with the Auto in Patch, which is just a half curly mustache with a soul patch. Again, I can't think of anyone in particular who has this, and the same can be said for the Auto in Full Stranger. If it weren't for how flat that mustache looks, this easily could have been a really good design. These two designs, however, cost $4,300 and $3,650 respectively. Keeping the stranger beard but curling the mustache just a little bit more, the curly and deep stranger is again somewhat flat. I'd argue the curly mustache is even flatter than the auto mustache, but at least it's iconic, right? The Balbo here makes a very strong return with the addition of sideburns, which apparently makes all the difference, bumping its average score from 4.97 to 5.39. Personally, I don't think enough has changed here to constitute a bump from 21st to 13th, but on the same note, these are the most stylish sideburns in the entire game. The iconic light stubble is always a great choice for those who just can't grow a full face of hair. And although it's simple, it was an easy task for Rockstar to get right. So, here we are. But now, as we get into the better of the beards and mustaches, the Musketeer is a nice, solid, and fully filled design. And I've definitely seen this used by many a player over the years. But not nearly as much as the clean shaven look, which is what you'll likely see most players with in a public lobby. Although I've always found it weird how the Barber can just make you grow hair or completely change your style in like only a few seconds. The Barber just walks in front of you for like 3 seconds and boom, a whole new look. How is that believable? Every November, people around the world grow mustaches and beards to raise awareness for men's health issues. Everything from mental health and suicide prevention to prostate and testicular cancer. To help support the cause, I've obviously shaved, as well as set up a QR code and a link in the description where you can donate directly to the Movember Foundation. I'll be matching up to $200 of donations through this link, and every new channel membership this month will go directly towards the Movember Foundation. So thank you all so much in advance for whatever you can do to support, even if it's just raising awareness about the foundation itself by sharing this video or just telling your friends about what Movember is and what it means. Moving forward with the ranking video, the goatee design is another great option, though it really just adds a mustache to the aforementioned chin style, which if you recall scored very poorly. However, the mustache does help a lot in giving this more usability and relatability. Faustic is a bold choice again, but it's well filled in. Though it lacks where many others do, it's flat and almost looks drawn on. Nonetheless, it's definitely deserving of a top 10, scoring 5.92 in 8th place. Mustache, and yeah, that's the name of it, seems like it would have a lot of potential. However, this one really just looks like a caterpillar curled up on your lip. It's small, narrow, and looks kind of squished. It's bordering Mato Escobar kind of look. If you know, you know. This isn't great. As far as a handlebar stash goes, this ain't too bad. What turns me away specifically is the little swoops at the ends. I think this is closer to what the horseshoe design should have been, at least for fullness, because this is actually the closest you'll get to Hulk Hogan. Breaking into the top 5 is this simple yet elegant curly design. Likely the most iconic choice in the game, it isn't seen as much on players as you'd think, and I blame that on the fact that it looks more like you were the first one to fall asleep at the party, rather than a stylish facial hair choice. Stubble, once again, is very basic, but still managed to get a 6.33 out of 10, likely because it's more commonly seen. It appears very scruffy and patchy, but I suppose that's fitting for the $185 price tag. Now this is a goatee, and it's also the highest scored style facial hair, coming in at 6.69 and placing 3rd overall. Being called the circle beard, Rockstar actually starts to show what would happen if they put more effort into their facial hair designs. Finally, the top 2 are a little bit surprising, yet not surprising at all, mostly because they're perfectly tied at 7.43 out of 10. The trim beard and the scruffy beard are the closest thing to a full beard we have in GTA Online, which is nice to have, but it's nothing compared to Red Dead Redemption 2 or even the options we have in story mode. Maybe Rockstar can give us those story mode options in online in next month's DLC. That'd be something I'd really enjoy. Rockstar, are you listening? No, they're probably not here. What are you still doing here? The video's over. I have nothing else to talk about. Go home.